Hello, welcome to my channel Lagging Behind. This channel is dedicated to those students who are lagging behind in studies, in life, or any sphere. Especially, I have come up with this initiative because of the impetus from the students. And today I'm going to give shout out to two students, dear Abhishek and Shaurya, who has been inspiring me throughout my journey of teaching career. And today this video is specially dedicated to you. So let's get into the deep water. This is the third unit of your uh, grade 12 English syllabus, right? So, in this story, Deep Water, the author William Douglas, who is born in Maine, there are various names of American cities which you need to understand and highlight. If you don't have much idea of the states of America, then it would be a little difficult. So, I suggest you go through the map once. There are 51 states, just like India has like 27 plus uh, 28 states plus 6 union territories. Similarly, USA have 51 states. One of the state is Minnesota. After graduating with Bachelor of Arts in English and Economics, he spent 2 years teaching in high school in Yakima. So this is a very important part. So where was he? In the town of Yakima, and here is this story that is set upon, it is his hometown Yakima, and his childhood traumas during the time spent in Yakima is explained in this story. This is an autobiography. What is an autobiography? Autobiography is something that is written by author himself about his own life story. तो इसमें क्या है कि आई विल गो लिटिल बिट ऑफ बाइलैंग्वेल. थैंक यू one of my teacher who had given me some ideas that bilingual could be better. So my Hindi is not that good, but I'll try. It had happened when I was 10 or he was 10 or 11 years old. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. तो उसने क्या किया था, जब 10 या 11 साल के थे तो वो डिसाइड किए कि he will swim, and he wanted to swim, but his mother continually warned against it and kept fresh in mind the detail of each drowning in the river. तो उसके जो मम्मी थे उसको हमेशा से continually warn करते थे कि नहीं, जो Yakima, there is a river which is very dangerous. You can see the Yakima river which is very dangerous, and mother used to warn him that river is very dangerous, so better you not swim in this river. It can be something harmful to you. And she reminded of all the person that drowned. In the beginning, however, I had an aversion means hate plus afraid to the water when I was in it. This started when I was 3 or 4 years old. So there is this person, when he was 11 years old, he wanted to swim in the YMCA pool, and he remembered when he was tiny, 3 or 4 years old, he remembered a incident. Father took me to beach in California. He and I stood there in the surf. I hung on to him, yet waves knocked me down and swept over me. I was buried in water. My breath was gone. I was frightened. Father laughed, and there was a terror in my heart at the overpowering force of the father laugh. Why did the father laugh? There was a CBSE question. Why did the father laugh? Father laughed. He wanted to lighten the mood. So they went to a beach, and the wave had knocked them over. You can see in this image how father is trying to take this little child into the sea, and the wave have knocked him down. माई इंट्रोडक्शन टू YMCA क्या था? एक पुल था. तो कहाँ था? यकीमा में था. तो YMCA पुल में वो जब गए थे 11 और 12 ईयर्स ओल्ड, वो कौन से इंसिडेंट रिमेंबर किए थे? 3 or 4 years old. He remembered 3 or 4 year old incident. What was that incident? Father was there. उसका पापा उसको लेके गए थे कैलिफोर्निया बीच में. उसको वेव ने नॉक कर दिया. उसको वेव ने literally knocked him down. He fell down and he was drowning, and that was a panic attack that had happened, which he could never recover from. And this is the story falling apart from the dream. You may fail once or twice, but failure is the key to success. Remember, my friends and my student, I paddled with my new water wing, watching the other boys and trying to learn by copying them. I had 2 or 3 times on different days just beginning feel at ease in the water when misadventures happened. I went to the pool when no one else was there. The place was quiet. What was that misadventure? Misadventure means something bad had happened. So when he went to the pool, no one was there. वो एक इंसिडेंट के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, पूल के. The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tiled bottom was white and clean as bathtub. I was timid. Timid matlab he was quite shy about going in alone, so I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. I had not been there for long when in came a big bruiser of a boy. तो एक बड़ा सा लड़का था, a very big boy came, probably 18 years old. वो कितने साल के थे? 11 years old. He had thick hair on his chest. He was beautiful physical specimen. Specimen मतलब example. वो एक beautiful. So he was trying to William Douglas as a child trying to admire the physique of that boy who had come. Showed his rippling muscle. He yelled, "Hi, skinny, how do you like to be ducked?" This is very important. CBSE question can be framed from here. So this is a first sign of bully. So skinny means, hey दुबले पतले से लड़के, तुमको कैसे डुबाया जाए. This means the thing. How do you like to be ducked? Duck means to be drowned. So this is a sort of bully. With that, he picked me up and tossed me into the deep end. I landed in the sitting position, swallowed water, थोड़ा सा पानी भी पी लिया था, sitting position में गिर के, went on to the bottom. I was frightened, but not yet frightened out of my wits. Very important line. Not out of my wits. Wit मतलब इंटेलिजेंट, कीन इंटेलिजेंट. मैं डर गया था, फिर भी मेरे अंदर जो हौसला था वो नहीं टूटा था. On the way down, I planned when my feet hit the bottom, I would make a big jump and come to the surface, lie flat on it, paddle to the edge of the pool. तो he did not lose his conscious. Wit और grit एक आदमी को सक्सेसफुल बनाता है. What is it? Wit and grit. तो उसका जो विट था, इंटेलिजेंस था, वो अभी भी उसके पास था, और वो प्लान बनाया कि जैसे ही नीचे जाऊंगा उसमें से उछल के ऊपर आ जाऊंगा. और ग्रिट क्या है? ताकत, फिजिकल. It seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90. Before I touched the bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. But when my feet hit the bottom, I summoned all my strength, made what I bought was a great spearing upward. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cork. Instead, But when my feet hit the bottom, I summoned all my strength and made it. I thought I was a great spring upward. Imagine I would bob to the surface like a cork. So like a cork is like that wine bottle which has got the opener. It when you shake and open it, it flies away upward. Instead, I came up slowly. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water. Water that had dirty yellow tinge to it. I grew panicky. I reached up as if it to grab a rope and my hand clutched only at water. I was suffocating. I tried to yell but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of water but not my mouth. I failed at the surface of the water. Flailed here means trying to reach the surface of the water. Swallowed and choked. I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weight, paralyzed and rigid. Paralyzed means without any movement, and rigid means there is no movement. ऐसे शक्ति से कुछ उसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा था, and he was trying to trying hard to survive in that condition. A great force was pulling me under. I screamed, but only the water heard me. I This is a wonderful explanation of personification. Water heard me. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. I stuck at the water as I went down. I stuck at the water as I went down, expanding on my strength as one in a nightmare fight with an irresistible force. I had lost all my breath, my lungs ached, my head throbbed, I was getting dizzy. So his lungs was aching and his head was throbbing. Throbbing means टेंटिनाना है, सर फटे जा रहा था उसका, और जो लंग्स था, फेफड़ा था, उसको बहुत दर्द महसूस हो रहा था. आई वॉज सिटिंग गेटिंग डिजी. डिजी मीन्स स्लीपी. आई वॉज माई हेड डिजी फील हो रहा था. ऑब्वियसली हैड swallowed a lot of water from the swimming pool, and swimming pool water, salty swimming pool water is not is not something that you would relish upon. But I remember the strategy. I would spring from the bottom at the pool and come like a cork of the sun. I would lie flat on the water. So वो जो strategy plan किया था वो fail हो गया था, and thrash my lungs. Then I would get to the edge of the pool and be safe. I went down, down endlessly. I opened my eyes, nothing but the water with a yellow glow, dark water that one could not see through. And then sheer stark terror seized me. A sheer stark terror seized me. उसके बाद जो क्या हुआ था उसको बहुत only my throat and pounding in my head said that I was still alive. And then in the midst of terror came a touch of reason. I must remember to jump when I hit the bottom. At last I felt the tiles under me. My toes reached out as if it grabbed them. I jumped with everything I had. But the jump made no difference. The water was still around me. I looked for ropes, ladder, and water wings. Nothing but water. A mass of yellow water held me. Stark terror took an even deeper hold on me like a great charge of electricity. I shook and trembled with fright. My arms wouldn't move, my legs wouldn't move. I tried to call help, to call for mother. Nothing happened. So at that time, he started calling his mother. He started calling for help, but nothing had happened. And then strangely there was light. I was coming out of an awful yellow water. At last, at least my eyes were. My nose was almost out too. Then I started down a third time. I sucked more for air and got water. The yellowish light was going out. Then all effort ceased. I relaxed. Even my lungs felt limp, and blackness swept over my brain. It wept out of fear. It wiped out of terror. There was no more panic. It was quite peaceful. Nothing to be afraid of. This is nice, to be drowsy, to go to sleep. No need to jump. No, too tired to jump. So he has given up. That he has accepted his death. He was very tired and nothing could be done. To float along in a space, tender arms around me, tender arms like mothers. Now I must go to sleep. I crossed to oblivion. I crossed to oblivion. This is a wonderful metaphor and curtain of life. So why is it a metaphor? I want you to comment down and tell me why is it a metaphor. The next, I remember I was lying on my stomach beside the pool vomiting. The chap that threw me was saying, but I was only fooling. Someone said, the kid nearly died. Be all right now? Let's carry him to locker room. Several hours later, I walked home. I was weak and trembling. I shook and carried on, lay on my bed. I couldn't eat that night. For days, a haunting fear was in my heart. The slightest exertion upset me, making me wobbly in the knees and sick to my stomach. It was a description of how sad he felt, how bad he felt. I never went out to the pool. I feared water. I avoided it. A few years later, when I came to know water of the cascades, I wanted to get into them. And whenever I did, whether I was wading at the Titan or bumping rivers or bathing in the warm lake, the goat. So all this line, if you read what you get, you get that he tried to jump into various rivers and try to do fishing in various rivers, but fishing in New Hampshire, trout fishing on the Dioecious and Metallus, Oregon, fishing for salmon, everything went into vain. क्यों? Because उसके उसके जो था एक डर सा बैठ गया था, तो उसका मन में इतना डर बैठ गया था कि वो कुछ कर ही नहीं पाता था, कोई भी वाटर साइट में जाता तो कुछ कर ही नहीं पाता था। फिर वो क्या किया, आई used every way I knew to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. Finally, one October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. I went to pool and practiced 5 days a week, an hour each day. The instructor put a belt around me. तो वो क्या किया, वो डिसाइड किया कि ये जो टेरर है ये मुझे और सीज नहीं कर पाएगा, ये मुझे और पकड़ नहीं पाएगा, इसलिए वो क्या किया, एक ट्रेनर को हायर किया, और ट्रेनर को हायर करने के बाद वो स्विमिंग करने को सीखा। एंड दिस फ्रॉम हियर ऑल्सो CBSE क्वेश्चन कम, that how did he overcome his fear? With courage and determination, he acquired a trainer, and trainer had used various techniques to make him learn. Each time the instructor relaxed his hold on the rope, I went under. Some of the old terror returned and my leg froze. It was 3 months before the tension began to slack. Slack means reduce. 3 महीने बाद उसका जो टेंशन हो तो धीरे धीरे कम हुआ और वो स्विमिंग सीख पाता था। देन ही थॉट मी टू पुट माई फेस अंडर वाटर एंड एक्सेल एंड टू रेज माई नोज एंड इनहेल. I repeated the exercise hundreds of times, but bit by bit I shed part of the panic that seized me when my head went under the water. Next, he held me at the side of the pool and what happened? He overcame his fear. When I was in the middle of the lake, I put my face under and saw nothing but bottomless water. The old sensation returned in miniature. So छोटे छोटे part में जो old sensation आया, I laughed and said, "Well, Mr. Terror, what do you think you can do to me?" I fled and I swam on, and he finally overcame his fear. Yet I had residual doubt, थोड़ी सी भी डाउट उस मन में बच गया था. At first opportunity I hurried west, went up to the Titan to Conrad Meadows, up the Conrad Creek trail to Meath Glacier, and camped in high meadows by the side of Warm Lake. The next morning I stripped, dived into the lake, swam across to the other shore and back, just as Doc Cochran used to do, his friend. I shouted with joy. Conrad used to do. I shouted with joy, and Gilbert Peak returned to echoes. I had conquered my fear. The had a deep meaning for me, as only those who had known stark terror and conquered it can appreciate it. In death there is peace. There is terror only in the fear of death, as Roosevelt knew when he said, "All we have to fear is fear itself." Very important line, because I had experienced both death